Today's video will be on a slightly more philosophical side of things, and I want to talk about taking ownership of preparing for the behavioral part of your upcoming job interview. And of course, I inspired myself from Amazon's leadership principle of ownership, and there are essentially three ideas that I want to touch upon here. The first being long-term thinking, and I believe it pays off to think long-term preparing for a behavioral interview for two reasons. The first reason is, realistically speaking, most of you will not get the job from the first shot. And if you don't get the job, then probably you reapply, if not for the same role, for a different role, for another company, but chances are you're going to still have a behavioral interview to pass. And the second time you'll have to go through the process, you'll find it very handy if you had some notes of the stories that you prepare for that job interview, and also of the notes of how your first interview actually went, some takeaways, some areas to improve if you want. So that's the first reason why this your investment should be looked at as a long-term process rather than as a one-time one-time effort, if you want. The second reason why you should look at it as a long-term effort is because if these companies enforce these behavioral interviews for almost all their full-time jobs, it means that they do value it a lot, but not only that, but they will use it. You were supposed to use these behaviors in your day-to-day job. So if you look at this process as a one-stop shop, and you memorize or you get lucky in the job interview and you pass it, then when you're in and you have to use these behaviors inside the organization, if you don't believe that these things work, you will have a hard time to thrive in that environment, right? So this would be the first thing why long-term makes sense. The second area I want to touch upon here is to see the bigger picture of things. Now, my experience has been that these companies are a lot more likely to hire people that connect very well with their mission statement, that feel motivated about what the company is supposed to do. Any company is supposed to create some sort of value. But there are certain types of candidates that are, hardcore supporters of a brand. And a company, I found, is a lot more likely to hire you if you can prove to them that you are a hardcore supporter of their brand. And I don't mean to say that generic thing that I love your company. You must really go a bit further than that. But the idea I want to transmit here in the context of ownership is that if you see the bigger picture and you can picture yourself within this context, you can put yourself in the context and how you can prove to your prospective employer that you can create value for them, you will be in a far better position, in my opinion, in a job interview. And last, the third element here is to actually quote from the principle, never say that's not my job. And by this, how I would translate this to a job interview preparation process, to the behavioral part, is that many of us have a tendency to do what we like doing, not what matters the most, to, in this context, significantly improve our performance. So the simplest example is that many of you enjoy writing down stories as opposed to role-playing them, or vice versa. So the recommendation here would be obvious, to get out of your comfort zone and see what actually matters, what actually would drive significant value for you for a job interview. I actually touched upon this quite a few times on this YouTube channel. So these would be the three areas that I believe makes the most sense of this context of you taking ownership of that of this preparation for the behavioral part of the interview. Hopefully you found this interesting, and thank you very much for watching.